In continuation of its whistleblower project tagged Corruption Anonymous, which is supported by the MacArthur Foundation, the African Center for Media and Information Literacy, AFRICMIL, on June 21, 2018, held a one-day technical workshop in Abuja for law enforcement and revenue-generating agencies. The event featured participants from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, PACAC, Nigeria Customs Service, NNPC, Nigeria Immigration Service, NEITI, EFCC, ICPC, National Orientation Agency, Federal Ministry of Justice, Central Bank of Nigeria, Code of Conduct Bureau, and Police Service Commission. In his welcome address, Chido Onuma, coordinator of AFRICMIL, said the workshop was organized for law enforcement and revenue-generating agencies to understand and review existing structures and mechanisms for the implementation of the whistleblower policy, examine good practices from other places, as well as equip participants with skills for analyzing tips and carrying out investigations.
This workshop also seeks to empower participants with due diligence mechanisms in dealing with whistleblowing cases. It is expected that participants will use the knowledge from this workshop in advancing the benefits of the whistleblower policy in their various agencies.
Dayo Olaide, Deputy Country Director of the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, said there was need for Nigerians to own the anti-corruption fight, as 1,000 EFCC was not enough to deal with corruption in Nigeria. He pointed out that the few anti-corruption agencies in Nigeria could not be everywhere, and so require the input of Nigerians in the anti-graft war.
Even 1,000 EFCC cannot stop corruption. It will take Nigerians to actually stop corruption. You cannot have EFCC everywhere. You cannot have ICPC everywhere. You cannot have Standard Organization of Nigeria monitoring all our borders to be everywhere at the same time. So it takes and it requires the involvement and the decisions of Nigeria to say enough is enough.
Mohammed Isa, who represented the director of the Presidential Initiative on Continuous Audit PICA, Dr. Mohammed Dikwa, revealed that about 1,983 tips had been submitted by whistleblowers since the launch of the whistleblowing policy in December 2016. He also disclosed that investigation had been completed on 623 cases, while 4 persons had been convicted.
Conviction by EFCC for now is 40. Then the participant may ask, why 4? I mean 4. Why 4? That's what we are talking about. The judiciary, the House, the cases take longer time and what have you. But nonetheless, at least now we are having something different. At least we have two people now, 2 main executive people now. They have been sentenced, and at least it's a plus to the judiciary.
The chairman, House Committee on Financial Crimes, Honorable Kayode Oladele, who chaired the workshop, said, while the bill for the protection of whistleblowers had passed the 3rd reading at the Senate, the same bill had just passed the 2nd reading at the House of Representatives and will soon go for 3rd reading after a public hearing. He stated that for the whistleblowing policy to work, there must be a deliberate move by the executive and legislature to work together, adding that the whistleblower policy will be passed before the end of the 8th Assembly.
If there is no bill pending, for instance, if there is no whistleblower bill pending in the House of Reps, at the time it was passed by the Senate, then it will be concurrent, direct without any problem. But since there is one, you cannot truncate that. You have to put it together, and of course, in order to give good faith and protection to the person that moves the other way.
Maxwell Kadiri of the Open Society Justice Initiative emphasized the need for government agencies to work together, as recent findings indicated a lack of synergy on the whistleblowing policy among the various government agencies.
The Ministry of Budget and National Planning actually also had their own whistleblowing policy, which also preceded what PICA had done. And they just revised their own whistleblowing policy recently. And when I was conversing with them, are you aware of the whistleblowing policy of PICA? The colleagues there said no. And this is the same federal government, this is a federal ministry, this is a ministry that is closely aligned with the Ministry of Finance, and they should actually be speaking to one another.
Abdul Mahmood, a facilitator at the workshop, spoke on whistleblowing and whistleblower protection in Nigeria, a legal review. He advised civil society groups to come together to draw up a plan on whistleblowing protection to enrich the current policy of the federal government.
That the best the civil society can do is begin to band together so that we can help the government to deepen the policy trust of its own policy document, and also draw up what I consider as civil society bill on whistleblowers protection program. If this government wins in 2019 or a new government emerges in 2019, whoever is in power, we can now begin a new approach that will take sectors wide.
Dayo Ayeton, the Executive Director of the International Center for Investigative Reporting (ICIR), whose presentation was on whistleblowing policy and global best practices, said for any act to be considered whistleblowing, it must be in the interest of the public.
It goes on all of us to ensure that let us get the law first. The law is the thing that sets out the modus operandi, and it is the law that we will use in making and keeping ensuring that people are accountable. So if you blow the whistle and nothing happens, what does the law say must happen?
Mustafa Gadanya, another facilitator, took participants through how to act on tips, due diligence, and investigation techniques.
More of initiating investigations. We have petitions, those global petitions where individuals or entities compete with law enforcement agencies. We also have intelligence gathering. Through the intelligence gathering, we can use maybe cite an example of Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit.
The interactive workshop provided participants the opportunity to share their experience and views on the whistleblower policy, whistleblower protection, and the fight against corruption.
As a civil servant, we also are public servants, and we know that in some of these institutions that handle investigations that are supposed to protect people who fall under this kind of thing, when you go there, you find the kind of attitude that will be so discouraging.
The Section 64 of the ICPC Act makes for the protection of information received by the Commission and the informers. Now, how is that different from whistleblowing? Because that is what we explain to people as whistleblowing when they report. Now, but in this forum, I've learned that there's a difference between petitions, information, and whistleblowing. So I'm also trying to understand that.
The intent of national level, because most of them, with due respect, they are the one involved in money laundering and all these poor civil servants. They are the one because they will never enact any law against themselves. So that law they are enacting is to promote their own interest mechanically. Because we say when the whistleblower came out first, they say 2% to the whistleblower. Later now we reduce to 1. As time goes on, they reduce to half. Again, you have to pass through internal mechanisms, report to your government, and then you want the government to go and report anybody.
We have so many agencies that are overlapping in duties. We have the ICPC, the Code of Conduct Bureau, and all of these agencies fighting one thing, corruption. And where is there a boundary for their duties?
Especially for us that the agencies, like government agencies,
where some agencies are paying more than others. You know that these are part of the things we're saying. We're all in the same market, and you see some people, their welfare packet is so much that when you hear you go, wow. Then you expect them not to steal, then you steal. There's no way except maybe the government will look into it and see how they can harmonize the salary scheme.
Nigeria are very good at policies. What about the implementation? Because even if they pass this protection bill, how will they implement it? It's not the same Nigeria they will implement it. We've seen bills that they've been able to deal with criminals. Sometimes it is there. It's not that the laws are there. But how do we implement this thing?